See, under that imaginary IEP with Cora McCorvey, I thought she could take the housing from 2003 to 2014 as her case and then remove it from Minneapolis Public Housing Authority. And then I thought Dr. Umar, being a part of Keith and Kim's bullshit. Now, mind you, I went to go see Dr. Umar. I heard Dr. Umar speak on the radio. He said that he wasn't for individual education plans. He felt like they were abusive to the black community and that no parent should have to have them. So I broke it down under EBD and OHD. So as I heard him speak about it when he came to Minnesota to talk about it, he repeated the same thing. And as I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him, and all he's really wanted me to do is buy his book, I'm thinking, well, first, I'm a parent, and I'm dealing with the education system under individual education plans. I didn't qualify for EBD testing, and I didn't know that. When that black social worker under Karen Wells had her test me for EBD 4 times, by the way, I didn't qualify. And at that time, I didn't backtrack because they kept telling me that Michael needed help. And I kept saying, well, you're right, because he don't want to read in the class. He's got this speech impairment. The kids are bullying him. So let's work on an IEP, right? So now I'm trying to get OHD, other health disability, based on, again, he had ADHD, and that's structuring his day-to-day activities. So then he was doing well in all these other areas, but then in this one area, we were now developing behaviors which was exhibited when he didn't want to be in the reading class. Not that he couldn't read, not that he couldn't write, because he was testing. Under the new law, our kids was being tested in the 4th grade. They were being tested in the 8th grade. So then when we got to 8th grade, going above, and they stopped testing him, and they put him on this IEP under EBD, where he didn't have to make graduating standards, Atlee Riley said, Sharon, they said you wouldn't work with them, so we're going to let them do it their way, and then we're going to go back and get your money, because you said, right? So then Atlee, again, being a student, was stalling me for 2 years as he's telling me to let them keep him in this institution that wasn't wanting him to meet graduating standards. Let's repeat that. They wasn't wanting him because they hired a class of teachers who was bottom rung, who didn't have licensure to even teach in the school district. It was level 4 based on, again, police intervention. They didn't even have what I consider to be a curriculum, where in all of his classes, he was expected to reach a certain point by the end of the year. They didn't have that because they didn't want him to meet graduating standards. So here I come with my lawyer. Here I come with my bad attitude. Not only ain't he gonna make graduating standards, but what the fuck you mean you ain't tested him? The fuck, you tested him in the 8th grade. Why aren't you testing him now? Well, because it shows that he can read, he can retain information, and he can be taught. Under EBD, these are things they say your black child cannot do. They cannot retain information, they cannot be taught, that they are not willing to learn. So I agree with Dr. Umar, and I didn't want the label. I totally agreed. And as we were battling the label differences, as I'm learning them, Dr. Umar didn't have no suggestions for me to go forward with his ideology other than I didn't want it. And I'm thinking, well, kind of I did. I thought I wanted the OHD label because my son was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I thought I had a psychiatrist, a psychotherapist, and a therapist tell me that he met grade based on the information I presented to him, based on him being in an extracurricular activity like football, which kept him, disciplined, and he loved it. He followed that, and even at the times when he was in football, they said he's calming down, where again, he's even willing to work with people that we were now making him do the work for, so that we could show that, again, the kid wanted to be in a regular general education setting. As again, Cindy Atsat got beat by his mom, who brought in Kim Messin, who got beat by his mom, who brought in Laura T. Booth, who again almost she beat up until the manipulation through the Disability Law Center, where they said that Sharon wasn't doing her due diligence and letting the police attack Michael, set him up, and then frame him for cases such as the one Cindy Atsett said he needed police intervention for, where Shayla Cooper did a side-by-side study at that point, again, being just a child. She said, you're lying. You just want Michael at home. You don't want Michael in school. I did the same shit at school, and I didn't get suspended. All they told me to do was give back the walkie-talkie. I said, Shayla, Edison is different than Harrison. She said, you're lying. You're lying. Now I'm arguing with my older daughter about my younger son, who, again, she don't even know shit from Shiola. I didn't even know why she did that shit. I couldn't understand that shit. Maybe it was because she's sitting around listening to me complain. And they're saying, well, you smoke too much weed, right? You smoke so much weed, you don't understand the difference between an IEP, OHD label, EBD label, that you haven't been to all these meetings, beating all these fucking attorneys, sitting at home smoking weed, doing nothing, as they said, when you was actually doing something, smoking a little bit of weed here, a little bit of weed there, instead of popping Oxycontin, instead of popping Percocet, right? 20 milligrams, tablets, brand motherfucking medication, right? Andrea Faulkner, Dale, last name unknown, Ray, with the picture with the Al Franken, right?